For your first hands-on, you're going to create a very simple line chart using plt.plot, and it will be very similar to this code that I've given you. The main difference is that you're going to be cubing the number instead of squaring the number. So you need to kind of adjust the variable names and the titles accordingly, and also adjust this little section of code so that it is actually a cube instead of a square. Make sure you have installed matplotlib before you try this hands-on, or it will not work. So once you've got this, all you have to do is use your run command. Okay, use the run command, and it will generate the chart. Now it generates it in a separate window, and you can tell if you look down here that it did indeed create the chart. If there's a problem, it will display an error message down here. So I'm going to close this. For your second hands-on, you're going to be modifying this and creating a second plot within the figure. So it's one figure that's going to have basically two charts. So in order for you to do this, we have to use plt.subplot, because this tells it you're going to have multiple charts in a figure, and you have to tell it how many rows, how many columns, and then for this chart that you're creating, which chart is it? So for the current chart, we have to replace some code with this code. So I'm going to copy the new code, and what we're replacing is this little section here. So basically, I've got the plt.subplot, and I'm telling it this is chart number 1, and I've created a variable, axis1. And then I'm using axis1.plot to create the line chart. Okay, so that's the adjustment that I made. Once you make that adjustment, okay, then you're ready to create the second chart. And the second chart, the code is going to be similar to the first one. So what we're going to do is move PLT chart down. And we're going to copy the code from the first one, because like I said, it's very similar. So let's copy, paste, and then instead of calling it cubed, because I'm doing numbers raised to the second power, I'm going to call it raised. Does not matter to me what you call it. And this is my second set of input values, so I'm going to adjust that name as well. And then I'm going to change cube to raised. And the equation here is, I'm going to take my number and raise it to the second power. Okay, so those are the adjustments I've made here. Now this is going to be my second axis. So I'm going to make that little adjustment here so it knows that this is the second one. And now I need to plot my input values and those raised numbers. Okay, so that will create the second chart. Now I do want the proper titles to display, so I want it to say raised numbers, or numbers raised as my title. And instead of values cubed, I want it to say second power. And the rest is okay. So if I run this, assuming I don't have a typo, this is what I get. Now, I do want a title to span both of those figures, so I'm going to insert super title or plt.soup title. And we'll say fun with numbers. If you guys want to call it something else, you can. And I'm going to run it. And now I have a title for the figure as well as both of my plots. Now we're going to do a little customizing of our plots to make them hopefully look better. Let's see. I don't think you guys need me to demo this because there is plenty of information up here, and the lecture demo shows you how to do it. But what I want you to do is add a marker, color, line width, and line style to one of the charts, and it does not matter which one. And then for the chart that you change, I also want you to modify the title using font size, font family, and a color. So if you come down here, you notice I did font and color there and pretty much modified the font for all of them. And then this first one is the one that I changed the color, the line style, and the markers on. And, you know, I showed you here what I did. Okay, so that's the first one. You guys do not need to do the same color as me or the same font family or font size. You can do different markers, have fun with it, you know, figure out what you want to do. Then for the next hands-on, you are going to use a built-in style for the second chart. And then any additional changes that you want to make to the chart, feel free to make them. So you can see that I changed this one, and I used Seaborn Dash Poster because I knew it made the title quite large. And then what I did was I adjusted the color, the line width, and the marker style. And then I did the same thing for that subtitle there. Okay, so that is the last change that you have to make to cubes, because we are moving on to different types of charts. So for the next hands-on, you will be creating a scatter plot. And to help you, I don't know how much help this is going to be, but I am giving you a starter file, which you are going to open. And this actually does save you quite a bit of time typing. And so I've got 30 days, and there are 30 temps for June, July, January, and February. Okay, and you can see that I've already done the import statement for you. So what is it that you need to do? You need to create scatter plots for each month. You should include a color and label identifying what each plot represents. Then you are going to need an X label, a Y label, a legend, and a chart title. Okay, and I do have an example that is similar to what you need to do up here. The primary difference is that this has 2 plots and you're going to have 4. Okay, that's the only difference. So what you're going to do is very similar to that example. And then moving on down, our next hands-on deals with bar charts. So I'm giving you a starter file for this as well. And when you download these, you are going to want to make sure they get into your Chapter 15 folder. So here is your data. This is actual data that I got on fast food consumption. I did not just make it up. Sometimes I do, but this was real data. And so what you are going to do is you need to add a bar width. You need to position each bar on the x-axis. You need to format the x ticks. You're going to have to add the PLT bar statements that include a color, a bar width, and a label. You're going to want to label your y and x axis, include a title, and include a legend. Okay, and Bob's Bakery is actually fairly similar to what you have to do, this last example. And for the next hands-on, you are going to be creating a pie chart. And so I'm giving you the data here that you are going to chart. And so you are going to have to create your own lists. And you guys have an example up here to look at, right? So I have labels and I have a list. So you guys are going to have to do the same thing, labels and list. Okay, make sure each wedge of the pie displays a percentage with 1 decimal place. Explode one of the wedges, and it does not matter to me which one you explode. Give the chart a title and add custom colors. Okay, and I did indicate here how to do the custom colors as well. For the next one, you are going to chart a histogram, and I am giving you a starter file for this. And this is also real data that I actually removed some years from. No, actually, nope. This is fake data. Sorry, guys. Fake data, not real. So anyway, this is a fitness test. And I don't know if you've ever heard of the Cooper's 12-minute test, but that is what this is simulating, how many yards they ran in 12 minutes. So this represents the number of yards that they ran. So what I would do is print out a sorted version of this so you can figure out how many bins you need to create. And if you can't remember how to do that, you may want to watch the lecture demo because I actually walk through how to figure out and sort using this example. So yours is going to be similar to this example, but you do need to figure out the number of bins. Okay. So once you finish that, we talk about color maps. So your next hands-on, you're going to open up your scatter plot, and you're going to add a color map. So the problem when you do the color maps is the legends just don't pick up the colors properly. So you're going to want to comment out the code for the legend. You're going to want a title and a subtitle. So you're going to do the super title for the title, and then your regular title will be a subtitle. Okay, and so you can kind of indicate what's being charted in the title and the subtitle. So for hands-on 10, you are basically going to take code from cubes, bars, or scatter, those previous assignments, copy it and paste it into a new file named Plotly, and you're going to modify it. But really, the only parts that you're going to be able to use from those assignments are, you know, your lists, because all of the code for Plotly is pretty different. So if you want to make this easy on yourself, you can pick, you know, a line chart with multiple lines, or you can do the bar chart, or you may even want to do the pie chart, because I have kind of figured out the codes for you. The textbook of the author does a scatter chart, so you can certainly look at his code for that. If you wanted to go off on your own and do anything else, I do have links up here. They have a pretty good reference site. So depending on the amount of time and how much time you want to spend, I'm kind of leaving it up to you. But you can take the data from cubes, bars, or scatter and then modify it for this assignment. I do want you to include the offline plot so you can save the page as a web page. Okay, so that is the assignment. When you are all done, you will push your Chapter 15 folder to GitHub and then add a link to the Dropbox in Moodle.